Welcome back to the Wonderful Walks in Golf podcast, where we walk you through the industry's untold stories, brand reviews, history lessons, and swing lessons from industry legends to those fresh on the scene. We'll carry you through the world of golf, so you grab your bag, strap up, and enjoy the walk. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Yep, you heard it. The Wonderful Walks in Golf podcast. We are back. It is December 6th, and we are ready to rock and roll into a exciting holiday season. Dante, myself, Dalton, we've got news to share, all kinds of great stuff to talk about in the golf world, in our own world, and I think a renewed interest in the DMV, the Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey golf scene. We've reallocated focus into our backyards and our own golf scene, which I think is exciting. And we are just pumped to dive in. Back, baby.
It's been a minute.
Back in the saddle again.
It's been a good break. Take the summer off. I know you're playing a lot of golf. I'm playing a lot of golf. We got a ton of new stuff coming. We also have some new life changes in this in between you and I, and it's
Man.
not me speaking that. I mean, what ladies and gentlemen,
I tell you,
ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the one and only Salisbury head men's and women's golf coach. Congrats, buddy.
Thank you, man. I think, that has brought a massive 180, 540 life switch, life outlook, life change to me. And it's been for the better. I think I'm finally rejuvenated that I've found my way into the golf industry full time now, which is just exciting. It is a passion of mine. As anyone who has listened to this podcast when we were Enjoy the Walk, back in 2019, all the way until now, with Wonderful Walks in Golf and all the exciting stuff that we continue to talk about wanting to do. I think I'm so rejuvenated and excited to be back in golf. And I think what's cool about this new position is now I get to help, men and women see their future dreams out at the collegiate level. And it's going to be fun, man. I get to coach at a university, which has just blessed me with an opportunity to just have the reins of a brand new golf program. We're starting both men's and women's golf programs from scratch to compete in the fall of 24. So go Gulls, baby.
Dude, I'm
we're here.
I have to get me my Gulls hat. I'm excited for you too, because me coming in logistics, I'm already thinking as if I'm in your position, logistically planning. How are we going to go about this? What areas are we going to target? Actually, what areas? Yeah, we, because I know you mentioned, you hit me up a little bit for some intel, but what areas you're going to hit? Dude, I just think it's kind of cool, just strategizing, kind of hearing your thoughts and just seeing kind of you go through the process and then get the text message here and there saying, hey, I'm pretty heavily involved with the My Club for the Best. I'm going on close to 9-10 years. Mm-hmm. So you've actually, reached out and said, hey, do you know this player? Do you know this player? Some upcoming prospects. And it's just awesome to see how fast it's progressing since you've taken that position and step foot first on campus. And I think what's great is you have a community, and you have the community within the athletic industry there. And I'm a big lacrosse guy, played lacrosse at Marywood while Dalton was there, slapping it around with the golf clubs. But until I decided to switch sports careers and do it more, injuries came into play. Picked up golf.
You came to your senses. You came to your senses.
But going back on that is the fact that you have the most winningest coach by your side showing you the ropes.
Let me tell you, and not to just say not just Coach Berkman, because he's incredible, and I think he's done at the collegiate D3 lacrosse level something that no one will probably ever do again, and I don't say that lightly. our athletics program overall is just one that is a wonderful atmosphere to be a part of. And each coach in their own way finds ways to build a successful program. And I think that's what myself, not coming from any kind of head coaching background, has tried to do in my first month, right? Like I'm just 1 month in almost as of this podcast, is just be a sponge, man. Reach out to everybody, sit down with them, just learn. There's so many unique ways to coach. I'm just trying to find my way. And I knew a way about how I wanted to do it going in, but learning little bits and pieces and then formulating that to be my own, all at the same time of diving directly into the recruiting season because I got hired in November. It has been a whirlwind. It has been fun. It has been exciting. Still an insane amount of excitement yet to come. More commits to come. And a home course to choose and tournaments to actually play. So I mean, I'm pumped, and I think what this has done for me too is, and I think anyone who's known me, especially yourself, Dante, I have desperately tried to find my way into the golf industry in some way, shape, or form, and I've kind of fumbled that through different avenues of full-time jobs, and here we are. So
Oh,
I'm just pumped to be in a
I
passion
can
again.
attest to this,
And
folks. I can attest to this. This man was down in the dumps at some times. Had some absolute freak out moments within the text messages. I've never seen thumbs go that fast before by freaking out. But I'll toast my glass of wine up to you as you have yours. Congrats.
Cheers to you, brother. We've
We
made it.
have.
We've made it
I'm
this far.
excited to see what we are going to do within here and what you're going to do at Salisbury. Obviously, I'm sitting there trying to be a sponge off of the sponge that you're being. It's really cool to see. It was awesome too.
And it's funny.
Nope,
Oh, go ahead.
nope. I was go right
Now,
ahead, sir.
it's just it's funny how life builds momentum, right? Like I haven't even thought about it, but immediately after getting the job at Salisbury, my brain, like my artistic side of my brain, the brain that loved doing the podcast and loved doing content, like it was shut off for a while. And immediately, like as soon as just switching your job, right? Like it seems so minuscule, but like switching your job, all of a sudden I'm just like, you and I have had multiple conversations over rounds of golf and text messages and everything of like, dude, let's dive back into it. And that's why we're here, right? Like we're pumped to dive back in. We've got a lot of exciting things to talk about, podcast specific, YouTube specific, golf specific in general with just our brand. And I think it's, shout out to Salisbury University because they've put a little rejuvenation in my life, which is fun to see. And I just can't wait to give back in every way I can to the next generation of golfers. Because at the end of the day, that's what I'm here for now, is just to build great young men and young women.
Yeah, dude, I'm pumped and kind of you're learning and you're giving back. It's kind of goes to the conversation that we had trying to light the fire when you came the first weekend in November, and this is kind of like what I want to get into the next talking point of me giving back is as you are going to be head coach at Salisbury University, you are also coming back up here to New Jersey to qualify because my home course, Running Deer Golf Club, is hosting a U.S. Open qualifier. And Dante, myself, right here, is going to be carrying Dalton's bag and walking him through that. Dude, I can't. I think that weekend was kind of, and you getting the job and kind of, you had like 3 days in, then you came up and visited, and it was unfortunately this fire that we tried to start in the backyard did not work, but we lit our own fire in, metaphorically here.
Great analogy.
I was pumped, dude. And it just kind of, we sparked the flame underneath of us to get this back up and running. And just the fact that weekend was just an absolute blast, and seeing the caliber of a player that you are, I can't wait to get the bib on for the first time ever and walk you up and down that golf course.
I have one question.
Oh boy.
Are you shaving everything and just bringing the mustache
on you?
out? I want you to go fluff so bad. I saw it right here. For those listening on iTunes or Spotify, go check out the YouTube version of this podcast. Dante has the ability. He's got a full face of hair now, but I think come April of next year, he's got the ability to go full fluff action for me, and that might just be the magic ticket into
Dude,
U.S. Open.
the my mustache it's getting pretty gnarly. All around's getting gnarly, but my mustache kind of comes out ahead of the others, and it's just straight out fluff. I always thinking like I was looking more Andy Reid esque a little bit, if a
Ooh,
little
okay,
bit with the
okay,
curl.
Philly guy.
I
Well,
can't KC now, but
KC now, but he's an old school
he's
Philly
still
guy.
Andy. I think I can pull that off for you. I know our buddy Paul
I love that.
up in Scranton. I think it was a few years ago. I shaved it all off and left the mustache like this length, if not longer, and sent him a pic, and it was good. It was good.
It's funny, that got me thinking of like the fluff, but like overall, right? Like I think the weekend we had of just like the fun golf out at your spot at Running Deer, getting to play 2 rounds, 1 round with your dad, it just like set me in the right direction, like mentally too, of like, it's kind of doable. And I don't think I've ever said that before in my life, like walking into a US Open qualifier and thinking like, oh, hey, it's doable. It's always been like, a man, you've got to go do something special. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm looking at it like, obviously with your expertise and having you on the bag, um, in this coming April, of being like, it's actually doable. You just got to play my golf and play the smart golf and hit some putts. So I'm excited. I think we're going to have an absolute blast out there. I encourage anyone who listens to our podcast to keep following along and come out there and watch. I love I love a little extra juices from the gallery if we get on a roll. It's I think it's going to be a ton
Dude,
of fun.
I'm really pumped because obviously you're a higher caliber player, and kind of just watching you play while we were playing that weekend was exciting to see. Different. I'm excited to see what April is going to bring compared to what we had in November, give or take the conditions of the course. They're going to obviously trick it out. The weather, it's going to be a little bit on the warmer side. Granted, we had some warm weather. It was freakishly warm that weekend, but it's
Very.
still different kind of time, temperature, air ways or whatnot. I'm really excited. I mean, like we said, the course for you, it's pretty straightforward from tee to fairway. You just got to get yourself in a couple good positions off the tee, and then it's just really kind of aiming to the right spot on the green as to where the pin's going to be, and then it's just going to come down to obviously your short game and putting. Obviously, the greens are massive. They're freakishly huge, and they're very undulated. So, you had a
Sure.
few rounds in there. The first time you came out was in 2020. I really wasn't helping you whatsoever. You just went out and played, shot 1 under, and I think that one weekend you came, you were under 75 both rounds, I believe. So, and
Yeah.
to kind of give the listeners a take it, the last time we had it was 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little bit sooner than that. And it was a steady blowing 30-mile-an-hour wind. And I think Metal shot even or one over. Obviously, what I'm trying to say, it's very doable. I think if you get the local knowledge that I have kind of setting you up, which we kind of already practiced a little bit. And I
Yeah.
even wrote down what clubs he's going to hit off the tee coming into from a year
I
from
love
now.
it. You sent me text message after text message getting it right. And I'm pretty sure like in your sleep could recite it to me 1 through 18 without even like thinking twice about it, which I absolutely love. Um, and I think, what's fun for me is I realized once you said like, oh, hey, they're having a US Open qualifier here. I kind of walked through the golf course the first experience I had with it, which was a really, really fun one. And I looked at it and said, oh, that's actually like, it's a good test of golf because there's some holes that if you don't hit good tee shots and you leave yourself on the wrong side of the greens, you can make big numbers.
You're looking at three
So
or
like,
four putts easily.
Yeah, so you can definitely it's a wonderful test of US Open local qualifying golf, which I'm excited about. And I think, when you look into April, obviously they hopefully are going to run a little faster greens and, like you said, trick them out a little bit, but you just never know the weather. And that's the fun of local qualifying is 72, 73 could get through.
Yeah,
You just never
dude,
know.
it was
You just never know.
it was insane because I went out and watched, I think, 9 holes that one year they had it, and I think that might have been 2017 or 18. And I remember it was straight steady wind, but it was crazy. I mean, I've watched guys like on 12. Obviously, 12's the hardest hole. It's this long par four, dog leg right. Everything slopes back towards the water. The green's massive, slopes back towards the water. The pin was kind of right in the middle, and I think the ball landed maybe 10 yards left of it, and it just trickled its way down because of the speed and slope of the green, and he nearly holed out. So it kind of goes to show that this course can eat you alive, and it's a phenomenal track. I mean, I love playing and hate playing it every single time I step out there.
It does blow my mind that like it's sneakishly over 7,000 yards from where they play it in the qualifier. And I think, I don't see it as that long. I think maybe some of the par threes can get pretty testy in like 220 to
Yeah,
240,
13's
maybe.
gonna be a
I know
doozy.
there was a couple practice tee balls I hit that I had like two hybrid in hand and had to hit every bit of it to get there. So again, fun test of U.S. Open style golf. That's what you go to play for. I've played in I think a U.S. Open qualifier just about every year since I've been a senior in high school. Zero luck so far, but that's going to change in
I have high
2024.
hopes.
I've got great vibes on it. I'm just excited, man. The game's in a good spot. The mind's in a good spot, which I think is fun. For a change, and it's just good golf. I love tournament golf. I'm a sucker for good tournament golf.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. And kind of speaking on the mind, I was telling you my strategy is I'm gonna bust your balls hard when you suck it up. If you, on certain
Yeah,
holes, if you decide to, eh, you know, bad shots are gonna happen. So big misses
yeah.
are gonna happen, and I think it's just staying level headed and probably breaking your balls. Why'd you do that?
The number one thing I learned from going to school in Scranton, Pennsylvania for 5 years: if you ain't busting chops, you ain't a friend of
That's
mine.
right.
So
That's
you
right.
better bust chops early and
Yeah, and
often.
I'm pretty sure we'll get some of my buddies out that you've known that you play with. We'll get them out following us and whatnot. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure my dad will come out and walk a few holes, so it'll be a good one. It'll be a good
nah,
one.
it's good stuff. Yeah. No, it's good stuff. And it's like it's excitement like that I think is really like fueling this little bit of a comeback for our podcast and kind of a refocus on our local region. If you guys hadn't checked out the feature we had in the Golf Association of Philadelphia magazine, go check that out. We were featured in their fall issue as one of, I believe, 6 or 7 different podcasts from around the region that are giving back to the community, right? Like covering the local community of golf around the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware area, and myself in Maryland. So go check out that article if you haven't. But I think that's led to some exciting things for us, including what we're going to do next Friday, the 15th, up in King of Prussia. We're going to go pretty much spend a couple hours at the King of Prussia PXG. Learn about what they do, what makes them different than other golf club manufacturers, what makes them different than other OEMs really across the country. And we're going to get a firsthand view of what the PXG fitting experience is like, which I know Dante's probably salivating a little bit at seeing the fitting
I
process
love,
there.
I love. I am a gear junkie at heart. Never knew that I was until I figured out how to piece them together. This shaft, that shaft, this lie angle, that lie. Dude, it's insane. So I'm pumped for it. I can't wait. Obviously, it's our general area, which is also cool. More kind of so my area, which is still part of like the GAP Association, the Golf Association of Philadelphia. So it's the Philadelphia sector, and they pretty much cover a huge area. But obviously kind of that KOP kind of main line where Marion and all that area is kind of
Yeah.
their homestead. So I'm pumped. And, actually I have a few guys that I play with. They went, I don't know if they went over to that one, but they did go to a PXG um, retailer and fully got fitted, and they're loving them. I haven't heard one bad thing about them, their clubs whatsoever.
Well, that's really cool. And I think, guys, as we post this podcast, if you have questions you want us to ask them, if you have maybe, inquiries about how PXG does things that maybe we can, put on our platform, let us know. Hit us up in the DMs on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook at Wonderful Walks and Golf. We'd be happy to let your voices be heard. I think that's the exciting part about going to an experience like that is the more questions we can ask, probably the happier they're going to be to tell us of what they do and what they do well. So let us know. Like I said, hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Wonderful Walks and Golf. Give us a DM if you have any questions for that PXD trip for us. And I think we'll do our best to ask the hard hitting questions and find out more about specifically the King of Prussia PXG and how they're helping the local community in the Philadelphia area. And I think in a greater scheme of just outside of that greater Philadelphia area, we want to focus in on that New Jersey area, the Delaware area, the maybe even Southern Pennsylvania area that we did a wonderful piece on Piney Apple in Biglerville that's got over 12,000 views on YouTube. I think more stories like that we can hit on locally is what we want to see. So if you guys have anything that you want us to maybe go tell a story on or go do an interview on, let us know. But I'm excited for the PXG trip, man.
Dude, you bet. I can't wait.
And I think, I don't know if we'll be able to sit down with them at all, but I think we'll be able to get up into the Radley Run area and say hello to my old college teammate, Nick Biondi. Nick is now I believe, director of instruction over at Radley Run in Westchester, Pennsylvania. He just got voted top 20 golf teaching professionals in the state of Pennsylvania, coming in at 18th in the state, which is so incredibly cool to see. I've seen Nick really dive into obviously trying to play professionally at first, but now really just dive in headfirst into the coaching scene, and he's had a lot of success. So
Sure
I think
is.
we'll pop our heads in there as well.
He sure is. I don't know if you remember, but I can attest to that as well. I actually went and when he kind of released, hey, this is where I'm going to be, this is where I'm coaching, I reached out to him, knowing that we're all Marywood alums. I've heard you've mentioned it, Paulie K's mentioned it. He's a phenomenal teacher, so I hit him up, went and saw him, and dude, I've been practicing pretty much everything that one lesson that I had that he's taught me. And I mean, it was very, I knew what I needed to do, but I needed that second set of eyes. So, and I knew Nick was, there. So I called him up. I said, dude, I need some help. And he was right there. Plus that place looks phenomenal.
And he's definitely, I was gonna say, he's definitely investing in himself too, as far as getting the right kind of equipment into his own studio. High speed cameras to really break down the swing clip for clip. He's doing a lot of great things that I think in the next year's rankings, it'll only help propel him up that list. And I think I'm excited to see what he does in the next few years because he's got a lot of really good things going for him.
Oh, it's going to be good.
And I mean, outside of that, guys, we've got, on the podcast this week, we've got Bob Dudeck from Kingsmill Resort in Williamsburg, Virginia, right up the road from the Busch Gardens. They actually have a course on property that was built by the Busch brothers. They call it the Woods Course. It's basically kind of just their backwoods hangout spot that turned into a golf course. So lots of cool little tidbits of information about the Kingsmill property on the back half of this episode. So stick around for that. Bob has been there for, I think, well over a few decades and has really seen the property, in its heyday when it hosted the PGA Tour, in its heyday when it hosted the LPGA Tour. and I want to say probably in its heyday now, in the recreational space, right? They've got 3 golf courses with just top of the line amenities, and they do a really, really good job of keeping the community involved in and around that Virginia area. So stick around for that. Bob is a great listen on what's going on around Kingsmill Resort. Dante, we've got to get up there.
Down there. Well, you got to get up there. Or
Down
down
there.
there.
Over there.
We do.
Over.
Dude,
Yonder.
that area, now I know like within that whole area, we went down the Royal New Kent and whatnot. Shout out to them. Such an underrated golf area. I think people overlook because it's so close to making your way down to the Carolinas and to Raleigh and then on your way down to Pinehurst. But Southern Virginia, man.
And
you, and for everybody kind of, I mean, it's gotta be tough too, because your golf destination area for, if you're trying to keep it a little bit more financially stable and less travel. Ocean City, Maryland, when you're at, has a lot of phenomenal resort courses. So hats off to that. But drive a couple more hours, man. Go down to Southern Virginia, go to the Norfolk area. Dude, there are so many underrated, just not even hidden gems. They're just like, they're overlooked.
No, they are gems. They're not hidden. They're just gems. And it's really funny. You took probably 2 or 3 sentences right out of the interview with Bob, right out of my mouth. Because I said the same thing. I said, it's wild to me that we don't look your way as an alternative to a Pinehurst or, to a Bandon or to a Stream Song, because they've got 3 golf courses. One's your pro style course, one's your resort style course, and one's kind of like your backwoodsy pine trees, old style, shorter course that's not even over 6,500 yards that everyone can play. So like they've got something for everybody all on one property. It's bonkers to me that they've got that kind of just like in a hop, skip, and a jump across the bay.
Dude. And the drive going down there, if you take that tunnel,
beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. You're on the bridge, then you're underwater, then you're on the bridge, then you're underwater, and then you're there.
Then you're there. I love it. We definitely got to get out there. Bob has kind of extended his hand to tell us to get out there, so I think we'll definitely get out there. I said spring, and then he made a great call. He said, we have really good weather in February too. You forget we're a little bit further south than most people. We get those mid-70s days in February too, so don't be afraid to check the weekend and make a last-minute booking in February.
And the last-minute booking,
we might just have to do that.
Last-minute booking's easy because it's hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah. It's great. I'm excited. Speaking of last-minute bookings and things we like to check out, guys, go take a good look and subscribe to our YouTube page. We've got a ton of good golf coming your way, whether it's Dante and myself or whether it's my good friend Diego, who has been joining the channel, assistant pro out at Lighthouse Sound. Dante cannot get enough of this man's swing. What did you call it? Colin Montgomery-esque?
Yeah.
Is that what you called it?
I think so. I did.
Yeah.
That I did.
I love it.
Yeah, I was like,
I love it.
It was
so
smooth.
Go to our YouTube.
Montgomery-esque.
Go to our YouTube. Check out Colin Montgomery-esque swing from Diego, and watch us play alternate shots. Watch us play scrambles. We played a pro versus plus match that'll be coming out right around New Year's. And we've also, because the PGA Tour, Dante, I don't know if you caught this, but like right after the end of their season this year, posted, could you and a buddy of yours, tag in the comments below, play a scramble from PGA Tour yardage and make the cut? So Diego and I teed it up from all the way back at Lighthouse Sound on a semi-windy day, and we played a little scramble to see if we can make the cut. So you guys will have to stay tuned to that as well to see if we put ourselves in the mix or if we're just two bozos that thinking we can go make a cut on the PGA Tour. So a little bit of both.
Did you ever mention?
I'm gonna lean.
Did you ever mention them that I mentioned what his swing looked like?
I haven't yet. He moved down to Florida before you mentioned that because he's smart. Yeah. He's smart and goes snowbird for the South for the
smart
winter.
Man.
So, yeah. So, guys, we've got all kinds of good stuff coming up for Wonderful Walks and Golf. Be on the lookout. We'll do our best to continue to post really fun content on our Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and Twitter pages. So go follow there at Wonderful Walks and Golf, and enjoy the second half of this episode with Bob Dudeck from Kingsmill Resort. But Dante, you got anything else, man? We got any other fun news to talk about? I'm just pumped we're back. This feels good. It feels like it's the right time to be back. We've got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe.
My 3-iron came in.
Yeah, let's talk about Dante not hitting driver once. Well, maybe once.
When in reality,
from
I
like
should.
back tees. Yeah, from the back tees, you just smoke 4-iron, and you keep it in play.
Yeah,
you don't lose anything, and you just got a nice 3-iron alternative to that, which I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I got ridiculed for that, but I mean, I still am struggling with driver, obviously working out some kinks and working some stuff within my swing. But I was playing the one day and it was like the fall, and I said, you know what? And that's when you came. It was the weekend before you came, and I said, I'm going to do something a little different. This may be a little unorthodox, but if I don't have to pull the driver and I could just put myself in play, I'm just going to rip my 4-iron because I can't hit my 3-wood either, and I can't hit my hybrid, but right. I can just hit these low running hooks with the 4-iron, and I played pretty solid. Got myself in some mental mistakes, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna get the 4-iron in a 3-iron, maybe get a little graphite shaft into it and see what happens. So that thing came in the mail today. So once we get like one of them weird warm days, I go out there and see what happens. Yeah. But that's pretty much
I'm waiting for one of those days because I've had the clubs in the back of my car since we played, and it's just gotten so cold.
And
it's just gotten
even
so
the
cold.
Days where it got up to 45, 50, which is doable, but it doesn't because the lows have been 20, 25 degrees, frost delays for 2.5 hours. I was like,
miserable.
I'm good. I'm just gonna couch potato the day, watch some college football on Saturdays and watch some NFL, watch my fantasy team get smacked because everything that could go wrong did go wrong this year. And
yeah, we are definitely a golf podcast, not a fantasy football podcast. I have
to start listening to some because I am getting worked, but it's fun. It's with a bunch of my buddies, so
that's it.
You know what my team name is?
Makes life go round.
Take a wild guess at what
Give it to me.
I'd rather play golf is my fantasy football team name.
That explains a lot about how your fantasy football team's performing,
right?
Then.
I should probably change it. But that's all I got.
I love it. Cool. Well, that's it, guys. That's it for us. We're excited to be back. Excited to just be back in the golf world. Still figuring out if we're making an appearance down at the PGA show or not. My coaching ability might allow me to go down there, so I'm dabbling in the idea, but until then, until we figure that out, enjoy this interview with Bob Dudeck, head of golf and tournament sales at Kingsmill Resort out in Williamsburg, Virginia. Till next time, guys, get out there, carry your clubs, and enjoy the wonderful walk in golf. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wonderful Walks in Golf podcast. We're kicking off our winter series featuring some really cool stories around the DMV, around the Delmarva this year. And we're starting off in Virginia from Kingsmill Resort with Bob Dudeck. Bob, you've been, I think, a consummate PGA professional for a long time, and excited to have you on the show. Guys, without further ado, Bob Dudeck from Kingsmill Resort.
Thanks for having me, Dalton. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Now, I know we ran into each other. It seems like forever ago at the Greater Philadelphia PGA show. Since then, I know, we've had a good season and a half under our belts. But I just think, first and foremost, how have things been at Kingsmill? And, what's the vibe down there in Williamsburg?
Oh, I'll tell you, we're rocking and rolling. We had a great season last year. The weather was very, very helpful. They say never rains on a golf course. I don't think we had any rain. The golf courses were in great shape. We had a bunch of tournaments. We just had a really, really, really good time.
No, that's great to hear. I know, same with us down here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. It was tough to find a bad day to play golf in the last year, which is obviously, I think, for our careers, maybe not all the best if we're not in the golf industry. But boy, if you were, you thrived this year.
We did. We did. We had a lot of play. And like I said, the golf courses are in great shape. And, when they're in great shape, just makes people want to come back and play even more or not leave.
Yeah, now you said something there, which I think I'm excited to get into. You mentioned golf courses. You guys have multiple courses on the property at Kingsmill, and I imagine it's tough to pick a favorite. But, starting off with how many golf courses do you guys have on the property? And what is it, what does it really maybe lend to you guys to have that many holes on the property?
Yeah, we have three great golf courses, 54 holes. Leading off with the Pete Dye River course. If you're a Pete Dye fan, it's the typical Pete Dye course, with the green complexes. Don't miss on the short side. Just phenomenal Pete Dye layout. And the PGA Tour played there for so long, going back to the 80s. And then the LPGA Tour was there for about 13 years, ending with the Pure Silk just a few years ago. So that having a championship style golf course on your property definitely helps and is a big draw for us. Out of that same clubhouse, we have the Arnold Palmer Plantation course. Not a tour course, but a very good little golf course. It's only 6,500 yards from the back tees, but dog leg left, dog leg right, small undulating greens. Got to be on your game. But if you're not on your game, you're not going to get beat up either. So, and then as you know, Kingsmill, Anheuser-Busch years ago, we were a major sponsor of Curtis Strange, and when he won his 2 U.S. Opens, he actually played out of Kingsmill. So him and Tom Clark got together and built a third course, and that's what we call the Woods course. And it's in the woods. It really is. It's kind of Anheuser-Busch. It's down a maintenance road that you used to go to get to the brewery, which borders our property. So there's not a house on the golf course. The only thing you hear is the choo-choo train from Busch Gardens, where you smell the hops from the brewery. So it's a really, 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 really neat course. So, having 3 golf courses on property helps. And there are 3 different levels. You can play golf one day, play the river course. If you play to your handicap, with 2, you're going to shoot 3, 4 over par. You can play to your handicap again at the plantation course. You might shoot 3 or 4 under par being a 2. And then there's the woods course. So we have 3 different tiers of golf courses here at the resort that helps when you come to play 3 or 4 days.
I think that's really unique, and I think it's what a lot of people look at when they talk about the Pinehursts and the Bandons. And there's so many golf courses that offer a lot of different skill levels, the opportunity to go have fun. But not a lot of people, and maybe more so recently, I feel like, but not a lot of people consider, at least in my region, Kingsmill that option. It's like, oh, I got to go down south, or I got to make the big buddies trip. But it's like we got this gem in our backyard of Kingsmill that's got so many options that it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, this is a hop, skip, and a jump.
That's right. That's right. Yes. We're only from where you are in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia area where we met at the show. It only took me 4 hours to get there. So it is literally a hop, skip, and a jump via car. So you can really leave in the morning, play 18 holes in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I know my friends down here, just outside of Ocean City, Maryland, where I live as well. We go down to Busch Gardens for a day trip all the time, and it's right up the road from you guys. So it's cool to see that kind of accessibility right within arm's reach. When you talk about having a championship course and having the woods course that are kind of so stark contrast from each other almost, what have you seen over maybe the past couple years since the Pure Silk left, as far as has interest grown to maybe, the public playing that championship style course, or how have you seen maybe the interest in courses change over the last few years?
I think just in general, more people want to play golf. Especially since COVID, everybody wanted to get outside or needed to get outside. So we've seen an abundance of play that's come in, not only for the river course, but also for the plantation course. And the woods course is really our members only course. But we've just seen a lot more play.
And that's really interesting to see too. And I think as golf grows, I've seen a lot of maybe once private clubs move back to public. And then all of a sudden in 2022, 23, holy smokes, we've got so many members. We're going to push back towards maybe what was our private club back into a private members only facility. So how have you guys been able to kind of feed off the local community and promote, that kind of inclusivity while also having that private club atmosphere?
We're very involved with the local community, basically with our charity events and things like that, and the social organizations. So we try to invite them as often as we can into the resort to utilize our amenities.
No, and that's always great to see. I think from just a quick glance on the website, it's obvious to see how much you guys do bring in charity events and the big establishments into Kingsmill just to give back. And I think golf's in a unique spot right now where there's so much of that going on, and it's awesome to see folks like yourselves continue somehow to keep growing it. Right? I think there's sometimes you look at a massive event or a massive couple events, you're like, how can you top that? And you guys specifically continue to just keep one upping year after year.
We do.
So that's great to see. That's great to see. Speaking on your specific experience as a head professional at Kingsmill, where did you come from before, landing at Kingsmill, and what really drew you maybe back to the area, or what drew you to Kingsmill?
The game of golf, to be honest with you. I'm originally from Connecticut. I came down here in 1995 to actually open another golf course, Williamsburg National. Met my wife here, started to raise a family here. But the reason I came to Virginia was to be a golf pro. And I just love the game. I love the competition of the game. I love to play. I wish I had more time to play. I like to play for money. It's hard for me to just go out and play and beat it around by myself or things like that. I like to practice and I like to play the game. So the game itself is what really brought me here. And then teaching people. When I first became a professional, a PGA professional, Class A, I did do a lot of teaching, and I worked a lot with the kids, and I love the kids. And I was actually a coach for both my boys for over 12 years in baseball. Couldn't get them to play golf when they were younger. Don't know why, but just couldn't get it to do it. And then all of a sudden they found it in high school, and now I have one that's on a D1 scholarship. So go figure. But I love teaching the game and getting people to experience the game. It's amazing how many people out there don't want to try it, but then once they do, they're hooked. They're hooked, and it's not hard.
Yeah, I've seen an incredible amount of that. I was lucky enough to play golf pretty much since I was 5 years old, played through high school and then college at the D3 level. But even seeing like fellow athletes at the D3 level now 4, 5, 6 years out of college, be like, man, I wish I would have taken up golf sooner. And they just got the bug, and it's all they want to do. And it's all they can think about. It's like, yeah, I tried to tell you guys, pick it up sooner. It's a lot more fun once you get good too. Because like you said, then you can start playing for money. And that's when you really get the juices flowing.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I hear you there.
No, that's great. In your experience as being a head professional for as long as you have, and getting to give back to community and teach the younger kids of the next generation, what challenges have you found in the game of golf over the years of maybe growth or just teaching, having the ups and downs? What experiences have you had that have maybe challenged you throughout the years, and how has that kind of helped you in future years moving on?
It's the game itself has grown, and it's funny you asked this question. We can talk about the ball right now with the announcement this morning by the USGA and the RNA regarding the ball. So just keeping up with technology and things like that. So when I first came into the business, I was an overall Class A professional, and I learned all facets of the business. Right now my major role is actually group sales and tournament functions here at the resort. So keeping up with the times, That's been the most difficult thing from the teaching philosophy, and different teachers and what they've learned and what they've had to adapt to because of technology. Swings have changed over the years, because of the ball, because of the shafts, things like that. Conditions of golf courses have changed because of technology. We're able to do a lot more on the golf courses with um, the equipment that we have to prep them in the morning. We can do it quicker and we can do it better. So just overall, that's probably been the toughest thing is keeping up with the times because it really
Yeah, I
changes
think
as the day changes.
I think it's wild to me, and we were talking right before we hopped on of just the way even the next generation swings at the ball, and there's just no fear, and they really just go after it. And I wonder if that announcement this morning is almost even fueling fire to the next generation of 5, 6, 7 year olds of saying, well, if they're gonna roll back the ball, even if it's only 5 to 8 yards or 11 yards, or whatever they decide is their metric at the end of the day. Is it gonna fuel another tier of young athletes to just swing even harder?
It could. It definitely could. It's funny. We're all human. If there's a will, there's a way. And when something changes, we'll find a way to overcome and adapt. So yes, it could be a new swing thought. It could be a new swing change, to get to be able to hit it farther. So I'm sure somebody will figure something out on how to hit the ball just as far. Yeah, I agree with you there.
For sure. And I think that's the excitement of the game too, is just trying to keep up is a struggle, but it's also the exciting part of like seeing what comes next and seeing how the game's going to adapt. I think you mentioned a good point too of the agronomy has just played such a big role in how we play golf courses. They're firm and fast and speedy, and especially on the pro side, it's a completely different game than what was played in the 80s and 90s. And where will that next step be for us? Can it get even faster on the golf course than it is now? Um, but I mean, as you guys look kind of internally at that at Kingsmill, how have you guys navigated that in keeping your golf courses top notch, but keeping them playable in today's standards?
It definitely utilizing the technology. It's funny when we aerify our greens now. We have a new system called DryJect. I'm not sure if you've heard of it or not, but it's called DryJect, but yet they use water. And when we aerify the greens now, it's this system where as they're actually punching the holes, the water is actually injecting the sand into the hole. So the old days, you'd punch the holes, you'd pick up all the little plugs, you throw them off to the side, and then somebody would take a spreader and spread the sand, and then drive around in circles for an hour around the green and spread the sand into the holes, and the sand was there, for 3 or 4 weeks afterwards. Now with DryJect, they can do an entire 18 holes in a day and a half, and all the sand except for in the holes is gone off the greens immediately upon completion. So after 5 or 6 days,
Wow.
the actual holes are starting to fill in already, and after 10 days, you can barely tell the greens have been aerified. So we've embraced the technology. You have to keep
Wow.
up with the times. It's not too many people are walking around with a flip phone. So if you're not changing your golf ball or changing with your technology, you're going to be behind.
For sure. No, and that's incredible to think. During my college years, I worked on the grounds crew up at Elmhurst Country Club, in just outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I remember the days or almost weeks of doing the front nine and sweeping the sand and making sure that was all covered and top dressed. And it was a process. And to hear that that's even kind of revolutionized is really incredible. I haven't been on the grounds crew side in ages, but that's really neat to hear that, there's every facet of the imagination of the golf, facility is just keeping up with technology.
Yeah, I can remember years ago they would do front nine one day, back nine the next day, and then if they had rain during it, they couldn't get it done. Sometimes the aerification process would take 3 to 4 days. Yeah, it can be done a lot quicker now.
Well, it's incredible
Because
to
of
hear. It's incredible to hear.
Yeah. Good
I
stuff.
love that. Well, lastly, I mean, you talked about reaching out the community and really bringing the community in. What's the vision for the future of Kingsmill? Obviously, you guys continue to see steady growth and really just a great opportunity to bring world-class golf to the Virginia area. What's the future of Kingsmill Resort look like, and how does that really play into the next 5-10 years of the overall resort?
We like technology is growing. We're trying to grow as much as we possibly can here as well. Constantly making changes to get better. We want to improve. We want to improve upon our golf courses. We want to improve upon our facilities. We're going through a $6 million renovation to our sports club. It's been closed for about 8 months now or so. Total renovation, total gutting, all new equipment, state of the art equipment. New spa, new whirlpools, redid our actual indoor heated pool. So just kind of starting there, and then we got some other projects coming up down the road where we're going to do some improvements to some of the golf courses and some of our resort conference center space. We've on top of the 3 golf courses and the sports club. We have over 400 rooms on property, so. And they're all suites, so we can house a lot of people. We've got 2 huge ballrooms and 8 conference rooms in the resort center. So keeping up with all of those and maintaining them and changing along with the times as well. Putting new audio visual equipment in the conference rooms and things like that, and just move it forward. That's what it's all about. So that when our guests come here, they go, wow. I want to go back to Kingsmill.
I love that. And I know that's as a facilities, it's a never ending process, right? As soon as you get done updating one side, it's back to the last part and a never ending cycle. But it's great to see that you guys are continually making sure your guests are having a phenomenal experience. For those guests, what's the best way to reach out and look at the Kingsmill experience?
Oh, come visit us. It's great. You can, just come visit us and see what we have to offer. From the 3 golf courses to the marina to the spa. The sports club. You can come on property, park your car, and never have to get back in the car. With the restaurants and the golf courses, and just walk back and forth to everywhere, and just be in its own little city for 3, 4, 5 days. It's really remarkable once you step out onto the grounds here. Just what an experience it can be. I always use this kind of analogy. If you've ever been to Augusta or the Arlington Cemetery and been to the Robert E. Lee House, when you stand up on the hill at Augusta, you're up at the clubhouse at Augusta, and you can overlook the entire golf course, so you can see everything. It was amazing how Mr. Jones found that piece of property years ago and said, "I'm going to build one of the greatest golf courses ever here." And you go back even further to the Robert E. Lee House. You stand at Arlington Cemetery, and you overlook Washington D.C. and everything. It's kind of like the same thing here at Kingsmill. You get at the clubhouse, you can see number 1, you can see 10, you can see 18, and then you see the James River. And the James River is just beautiful. And the location of the Kingsmill property on the James River is fascinating because you can actually see a sunrise in the morning and a sunset in the evening over the river. And there's not many places in the world that you can actually see that, a sunrise and a sunset from the same spot over water. And if you play golf and see both of those, you're definitely a golfer playing a lot of golf in one day.
I was going to say that's incredible, but I imagine there are golfers that get to see them both, which is just even more special to be able to start your day seeing it on one side and to finish up still with a golf club in your hand as the sun sets on the other side of the river.
Definitely. Yeah. So when are you going to come play?
Well, before we wrap up, I was going to say, before we wrap up, I got to know, which course do I need to play first? You've obviously got a favorite. There's got to be one above them all. Which one do I need to come play first?
It's the Pete Dye River course. To be able to play where David Duval played. He won here when he was number one. To be able to play a course that the tour guys played on and say, hey, I've played there. I've beaten their scores, and to experience what they experience week in and week out, that's definitely number one.
For sure. I know it's on my short list, and I'll definitely be booking something here in the early spring to get up and see you guys and check out the property for the first time.
Love to have you. Love to have all your followers as well.
Awesome. Well, Bob, I really appreciate the time and learning a little bit more about Kingsmill. Guys, do your best to go check out Williamsburg Golf at Kingsmill Resort. From what I understand, it is a place like any other, unlike any other, and you've just got to see it to see the magnificent river, the golf course, obviously where the pros played, both PGA and LPGA. So, Bob, really appreciate the time. Until next time, guys, go to www.wonderfulwalksingolf.com to check out more podcasts like this and more golf insights from around the Del Mar.
Thanks, Dalton.